Hello there, right here we have our brand new 1.20 pre-release 2. This is the second pre-release. They do these just before doing the release candidates and then the full release, so we're getting closer. In these, they mostly do fixes, but we got some changes to how RNG works in Minecraft, Ender Dragon fight, and even a 11-year-old bug getting removed from the game. So make sure you guys are subscribed and drop a like, and let's get right into it. Now in the past, some chest loot was always the same as long as you played on the same world seed. But other loot was random, like piglin bartering. You didn't know what you're going to get even if you played the same seed. So last week's first pre-release of 1.20, they made it so you get the same bartering loot every time you played that world seed and bartered with a piglin, or use any other type of loot table which was considered random. So it's now predictable what you'll get next if you're playing like a set seed speedrun. So you might think this makes it easier for speedrunners to go ahead and hop into the same world that they always run, and then when they did stuff like kill an iron golem, they would know exactly how much iron it would drop each time. And piglin bartering, they can predict they get the exact same item, which all seems really good, except because there's a limited amount of Minecraft worlds. Speedrunners went through the majority of the worlds and they already know the best seeds for doing Minecraft speedruns. So what they do is they continue to play the same seeds, and then when they do something like bartering, they happen to not get the loot that they wanted, they just restart the world. And then the next time they play, they might get some better loot, like pearls. But with this change, it makes it so that even if they play their best world, every time they go and barter with the piglins, if the piglins gives something that they can't use, then every time they play that world, they're also going to continue to get those items that they can't use. Which means that there's actually less good speedrunning worlds now. But so far this seems all intended. But there was a bug that came along with this that they fixed, where the loot tables were the same in two different dimensions. You could barter in the nether and get a certain type of loot, then you could just go and push a piglin in the overworld and barter over there and get the exact same loot in the same order. So they fixed it so now the loot table will be remembered across dimensions. But it turns out the loot tables were actually connected together, so if you would happen to get like a gravel on your very first gravel that you broke, then you could actually determine what type of item you could get when treasure fishing. And this correlation actually applied to all across the world. So if you like come in and just break a single grass block and you would get a seed, you could actually determine the likelihood that you would get pearls from the first piglin bartering. These correlations were found by Matthew Bolin and Earth Computer, two people that have done RNG Manipulation collabs with. And because the RNG is based off of the world seed, you can find specific worlds that will give you specific things the very first time you do them. Like in this world seed, they found out that it doesn't matter whichever 4 zombies you kill, they will always drop a iron ingot. Here's a 4th one, and notice when we do a 5th one, we don't get an iron ingot. So it's like predetermined what we'll get for each loot, and this world just happens to be a lot of iron ingots in the very beginning. And in this world here, the first time you go ahead and pull in your fishing rod, you will get a nautilus shell. But not only that, the second time you'll also get one, and the third time, and the 4th time, even if you use just a normal fishing rod with no useful enchantments. But it gets really crazy with this world here, because the first 6 wither skeletons that you kill, even without looting, you will always get a wither skeleton skull, which makes it great for speedrunners who are trying to get all advancements, including killing the wither and getting a beacon. Now getting really OP loot based off of a seed is probably not a bug, that's kind of how they want it. But the correlation between different loot tables, such as being able to like break this and have 100% chance of it dropping, would allow you to know if you're going to get a wither skeleton skull or not, is most likely a bug. What do you think about this? For those of you that enjoy making custom crafting recipes using data packs, you can now actually use air in order to denote an ingredient that will match an empty slot. But if your ingredient has like shapeless or shaped or are used in these other utilities, it won't work. The game will also notify you if you have your text-to-speech turned on, but it's not available. With last week's change to the end dimension, where you can use ender crystals to skip the dragon fight, as I predicted, it did cause a different bug, which is if you would enter the end dimension, then leave the game, and then rejoin it, and then kill the ender dragon, the exit end portal wouldn't light. So they fixed this bug as well. I made a bug report about sculk sensors not detecting minecarts from moving on rails like it should when it comes to other things when they touch the ground. So now sculk sensors will hear them just like a mob walking. You can detect if a minecart goes past a certain position without actually needing a detector rail, which will let you compact some circuitry. In 1.19.4, shields were no longer blocking damage that came from TNT, so now they'll actually work. Recently, they made it so that enchanting tables wouldn't have their enchantments affected by grass. But since normal flowers will actually lower down your enchantments, blocking the enchantment table from the bookshelves, it would make sense that the tall flowers should also block the enchantment table, but it actually wasn't doing this, so they added these to the same group of these flowers. A trick I showed a long time ago where you can put something into an anvil and rename it with a name that's actually pretty much invisible. I showed that in this video, which I'll link down below. There's different ways you can actually do it. But in the past, there was this character here, which is called NPSP. This is what it would look like when you name it that. But with recent changes to the way text is done, this character is actually showing up as being invisible. There's a lot of cool things you could do with these invisible name items, which I cover more in that video. But in this bug fix, they went ahead and reverted it back so it would show up as before. Those of you guys that use Anvil a lot will know about this bug, which is where you come in and type in a name, then you would remove the entire name, and instead of it saying invalid, it would just show up the previous name that you had. I didn't really feel like this was ever a bug, but it's now resolved. When using a dispenser and a boat, the boat was sometimes clipping inside of the dispenser just a little bit. Now this was one way you could get items such as like a boat inside of a block that you normally can't move, like a dispenser, since you can't actually push it inside of the boat. And you could use this trick to get boats inside of blocks more easily. But of course, this is also quite annoying for people that are trying to get automatic boat placing into the water, but it's been resolved. So it will no longer clip into stuff and just be placed into the water. This was also a quite old bug, being about 11 years old, back in version 1.4. So it's crazy to see that they're actually fixing these really old bugs that have been in the game for a long time. What do you think about them changing things that people got used to over the years? Sniffers will no longer be able to go into breeding mode when they're actually sniffing out something. And baby sniffers will now get closer to the player when they used to stand kind of far away even though you're tempting them. If you watch carefully the way that the sniffer is summoned in, notice that the head is actually shrunk and then it zooms out, makes it almost look like it comes popping out of its shell. Let's watch this in slow mode. So this shrunken sniffer head has been resolved, so I'll just start out normal size. Riding a mob down a ladder will no longer cause it to die from fall damage when it touches the bottom. Falling off a ladder was giving the wrong death message, just saying that you're doomed to fall. Or once again, I'll go back to saying you fell from a ladder. There was this problem when you would relog while being on top of scaffolding, you would actually just fall right through it. This bug was in the 1.19.4 version, so be careful until you actually update your world to where it is fixed. They are continuing to fix these lighting bugs along the chunk border, where light would be produced but it wouldn't cross. This one was particular to do with the water, but in this case the light was not even supposed to be there. It's as if the game thought there was a sea pickle over the chunk beside it, so put light over here, but then the sea pickle never generated. They also resolved a bug that I noticed on stream, where they added in the new crafting for the beds. If you look over here, you can see that there is this small crafting artifact. And after doing some investigation, I found out that piece there is actually just a little sliver of this bed here. When opening up the crafting table, it will no longer look wonky like this. They also reorganized the wither rose to put it with other flowers. The dead coral be in the same order as other coral. The mangrove leaves and roots will also be in the correct order. And the creative menu fish in a bucket will be the same as the order of the fish for the food. It turns out the torchflower crop was causing the game to crash in some cases, which they resolved in this bug fix. They also fixed quite a few different other bugs, all related to like text or punctuation within the game. And several other bugs related to commands got resolved, including a few more technical bugs. Now start building these new farms for your world in preparation for 1.20 with this playlist here, or this one about cool tricks you can do in the new update. Thank you all for the get well messages as I recover from my injury, that I should be able to upload more frequently once again. Thanks to all my supporters here for making this possible by supporting me either through Discord subscription, Twitch subs, or even a Patreon. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!